The greatest military minds in the galaxy gathered in a room that had witnessed the fall of 1,000 civilizations. They were about to make the biggest mistake in galactic history. Humans? High Commander Zekthor's 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he studied the holographic display. These primitives barely left their own star system. The Council of Apex Species had conquered worlds for 10,000 years. They had destroyed empires that spanned galaxies. They had seen species rise and fall like waves on an ocean, but they had never seen anything like what was about to happen. "I give them 2 hours," said War Master Vulcan, her scales shimmering with confidence. "Maybe 3 if they hide well." They were wrong. So terribly, catastrophically wrong. What happened next would be remembered forever, not because of how long the war lasted, but because of how quickly it ended. This is the story of the day humanity showed the galaxy what true terror looks like. The Galactic Council chamber floated in the void between dimensions, a massive structure built by the ancients millennia ago. Inside, representatives from the 12 dominant species of the known universe sat in a perfect circle, their seats arranged by order of military might. At the top sat the Krax Dominion, insectoid warriors who had crushed 700 civilizations under their iron claws. Below them, the Velkari Collective, masters of biological warfare who could unleash plagues that ended worlds in days. The list continued downward through species so powerful that their names alone made planets surrender. Today, they discussed a new problem. A small, annoying problem: humanity. "Let me understand this correctly," said Diplomat Zenva, her tentacles twitching with barely concealed amusement. "These humans sent one small ship through the Forbidden Zone." "Worse," replied Scoutmaster Thelmon. "They built a colony on Threshold 9. That world is in the neutral buffer. It belongs to us by ancient treaty." A murmur rippled through the chamber. Building on Threshold 9 wasn't just illegal. It was an insult. A declaration that humanity didn't respect the rules that had governed the galaxy for thousands of years. They couldn't have known, offered Mediator Pollux, always the voice of reason. Humans only achieved faster-than-light travel 40 cycles ago. They're babies in cosmic terms. Surely we can simply explain. "Explain?" War Master Vulcan interrupted, her voice like grinding stones. "We explained nothing to lesser species. We gave them the standard warning beacon. We transmitted in all known languages. They ignored us." She pulled up a hologram. It showed a small blue planet in an unremarkable star system. Earth. Beside it, data scrolled past. Population 8 billion. Military capability, primitive. Threat level, negligible. "Look at them," Vulcan continued. "They still use chemical propulsion for basic warfare. They fight with metal bullets and explosive devices. They haven't even unified their own planet yet. Half their nations are at war with the other half." High Commander Zekthor leaned forward in his seat. "What are you proposing, War Master?" "A demonstration," Vulcan said simply. "We send the 7th Fleet to their little colony. We remove the humans from Threshold 9. We make it clear that this galaxy has rules, and there are consequences for breaking them." "The 7th Fleet?" Ambassador Kixar's voice carried surprise. "That seems excessive. The 7th conquered the Mektar resistance. They destroyed the fortress world of Gulhana. You want to use them against humans?" Vulcan's smile was not pleasant. "I want to send a message that echoes across the stars. When other primitive species see what happens to those who disrespect the Council, they will think twice." "How long will it take?" asked Zekthor. "To eliminate the colony?" 2 hours. "Perhaps 3 if they've built underground shelters." Vulcan pulled up tactical displays. "The colony has approximately 10,000 humans. They have basic defensive weapons, mining equipment, nothing that could threaten even one of our destroyers." Thelmon nodded in agreement. "Our intelligence confirms they have no military presence on Threshold 9. It's a civilian colony. Miners, scientists, families. Pollux shifted uncomfortably. "Surely we can offer evacuation." "We offered them the chance to leave peacefully," Zekthor cut in. 3 warning beacons, 5 diplomatic transmissions, all ignored. They chose this path. The vote was called. 11 species approved the military action. Only Pollux abstained, his vote meaningless against the majority. "It is decided," Zekthor announced. "War Master Vulcan, deploy the 7th Fleet." Remove the human presence from Threshold 9. Show them that the Council's patience has limits. Vulcan bowed. It will be done within the day, High Commander. As the Council began to discuss other matters, none of them noticed the small detail in the corner of the intelligence report. The footnote that mentioned humanity's strange obsession with something they called contingency planning. The note about how humans had established something called the Dead Hand Protocol. They would learn what that meant soon. Enough. Far across the galaxy, on Earth, alarms began to sound. Deep beneath the mountains of Colorado, in a facility that officially didn't exist, screens lit up with urgent warnings. Men and women in military uniforms rushed to their stations. "Confirmed signal," barked General Sarah Chen, commander of Earth's United Defense Initiative. "Confirmed." "Ma'am," replied Lieutenant Marcus Cole. "Colony Threshold 9 is under attack. Multiple hostile contacts. Class M battle cruisers. Estimated fleet size, 47 ships. Time until the colony falls? They're predicting 2 to 3 hours, General. The colonists are evacuating to underground bunkers, but..." He didn't need to finish. Everyone in the room knew that bunkers wouldn't matter. Not against weapons that could crack planets. General Chen stood perfectly still for 5 seconds. In those 5 seconds, she ran through every option, every possibility, every diplomatic solution. All of them ended the same way. 10,000 humans were about to die because humanity had dared to reach for the stars. "General?" Cole's voice was quiet. "Orders?" Sarah Chen had spent 30 years in military service. She had fought in 3 wars on Earth. She had trained for every possible scenario, including this one. The scenario they all hoped would never come. She picked up the red phone. The line connected instantly. "Madam President," Chen said, her voice steady despite everything. "We have a situation." 3 minutes later, the President of Earth's United Government gave an order that would change the galaxy forever. "Authorization code verified," Chen announced to the room. "All stations, this is not a drill. Initiate Protocol Pandora. God help us all." Around the room, faces went pale. Protocol Pandora, the worst-case scenario, the option they swore they would never use. Lieutenant Cole's hands shook as he entered the codes. "General, are we sure about this?" General Chen looked at the screen showing Threshold 9, showing her people. Showing families huddled in bunkers waiting for death. "No," she said honestly, "but they left us no choice. The moment they attacked our civilians, they opened a door they can never close." She pressed the button. Across Earth, in hidden facilities on 6 continents, machines hummed to life. Machines that had been built in secret over 40 years. Machines designed for one purpose. The galaxy was about to learn why humans were the most dangerous species that ever evolved, not because they were the strongest, but because they were the most creative at destruction. "The Council thinks this will be quick." They think humans are primitive, weak, easy to crush. But they don't understand one crucial thing about humanity. We don't just prepare for the battles we expect. We prepare for the wars we hope never come. And we always have a backup plan. What happens next will shock you. Aboard the Krak's flagship Eternal Dominion, War Master Vulcan watched the planet Threshold 9 grow larger on her view screen. Her fleet had dropped out of hyperspace exactly 3 million kilometers from the target. Perfect positioning. "Perfect timing. All ships report ready, War Master," announced her second-in-command. "Any response from the colony?" "Negative. They've gone silent. Likely hiding in their shelters." Vulcan nodded. "Smart, but ultimately pointless. The 7th Fleet had reduced planets to rubble. A small mining colony would last minutes. Begin bombardment. Target all surface structures. Leave nothing standing. The fleet's weapons charged with a sound like thunder. Plasma cannons that could melt continents locked onto their targets. Then something strange happened." "War Master." The sensor officer's voice cracked with confusion. "I'm detecting something. Multiple somethings. They're appearing between us and the planet." "Appearing? What do you mean appearing?" The view screen shifted. Vulcan's 4 eyes widened. Ships. Hundreds of them. Thousands of them. They hadn't been there 3 seconds ago. They hadn't traveled through hyperspace. The fleet's sensors would have detected the dimensional ripples. They hadn't launched from the planet. There was no way a mining colony could hide that many vessels. They had simply appeared. like ghosts materializing from nothing. What am I looking at? Vulcan demanded. Her science officer worked frantically at his console. Unknown vessel type. Unknown propulsion. Unknown weapon systems. War Master, our databases have no record of these ships. They're not matching any known human design. How many? Counting. 7,416. War Master, that's more ships than humanity's entire known fleet. Where did they? It doesn't matter, Vulcan interrupted, though uncertainty crept into her voice. Numbers mean nothing without firepower. Scan them. Tell me their capabilities. Silence filled the bridge. Well, Vulcan prompted. War Master, the science officer said slowly, I can't. The ships, they're blocking our scans. Not with shields, with something else. It's like they're made of empty space. Our sensors register them as being there and not being there at the same time. For the first time in her military career, Vulcan felt something unfamiliar. A cold sensation spreading through her body. Fear. Communications, she ordered. Open a channel to those ships. Demand identification. Channel open, War Master. Vulcan straightened in her command chair. Unknown vessels. This is War Master Vulcan of the Galactic Council's 7th Fleet. You are interfering with a lawful military operation. Identify yourselves immediately or be fired upon. Static answered her. Then through the noise, a voice, human, male, calm, too calm. War Master Vulcan, this is Admiral James Hawking, commanding officer of Earth's Shadow Fleet. You have attacked our people. You have killed our civilians. You have declared war on humanity. Vulcan's mandibles clicked together. Shadow Fleet? We have no record of any Shadow Fleet. You're lying. A laugh came through the speakers. It was not a pleasant sound. Of course you don't have records. We spent 40 years making sure you didn't. Every human ship you've ever scanned, every colony you've ever observed, every piece of intelligence you've gathered, we showed you exactly what we wanted you to see. Impossible. Our intelligence networks are the best in... Were you aware, Admiral Hawking interrupted, that 17% of the debris fields your ships have mapped in the Outer Rim are actually our ships in camouflage mode? Did you know that the natural phenomena your scientists study near black holes are our power collectors? Did you notice that 3 of your council member species have humans working in their government offices? Vulcan felt her blood run cold. You're bluffing. Test me. Silence stretched between the fleets. On the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, every officer had stopped working to listen. What do you want? Vulcan finally asked. I want you to understand something, War Master. You studied humanity. You saw primitives with chemical weapons and basic technology. You saw what we wanted you to see. You never asked the important question. What question? Why would a species that only achieved faster than light travel 40 years ago immediately start building colonies in dangerous territory? Why would we ignore your warnings? Why would we seem so reckless? Vulcan didn't answer. Because we were testing you, Hawking continued. We needed to know if the Galactic Council was reasonable or if you were exactly what we feared. Bullies who crush anyone weaker than themselves. Thank you for providing that answer. You sacrificed your own colony as bait. We evacuated Threshold 9 6 months ago, War Master. Every person you think you're about to kill is already safely back on Earth. The colony you're targeting is empty. It always has been. Vulcan turned to her sensor officer. Confirm life signs on the planet. Frantic scanning. Then War Master. I'm reading 0 life signs. The structures are there, but it's empty. It's all empty. A trap, Vulcan whispered. This entire thing was a trap. Not a trap, Hawking corrected. A test, one you failed spectacularly. Now let me tell you what happens next. You're going to turn your fleet around. You're going to return to the Galactic Council, and you're going to deliver a message. I don't take orders from humans. You do now. What happened next would be analyzed by military historians for generations. The human ships didn't fire weapons. They didn't charge forward in attack formation. They didn't do anything aggressive at all. They just moved. 7,000 ships executed a maneuver so precise, so perfectly synchronized, that it looked like a single organism. They formed a sphere around the entire 7th Fleet, a cage of vessels that left no escape route, and they did it in 4 seconds. Impossible, breathed Vulcan's navigation officer. That kind of coordination requires quantum-linked computing across thousands of independent systems. That technology doesn't exist. It didn't, Hawking said. Not until now. War Master, every ship in your fleet is currently targeted by 47 different weapons systems. We have firing solutions calculated for every possible evasive maneuver you might attempt. If any of your ships so much as charges a weapon, all of you die, instantly, simultaneously, completely. Vulcan looked at her tactical display. Red targeting indicators covered every single ship in her fleet. The humans weren't exaggerating. This is your one chance, Hawking continued. Return to the Council. Tell them that humanity demands a seat at their table. Tell them that we're not asking permission to exist in this galaxy. We're informing them of reality. Tell them that if they want war, we'll give them a war they'll never forget. The Council will never accept. The Council doesn't have a choice. You have 24 hours to deliver our message. After that, we start visiting Council worlds, not to attack them, not to invade them, just to let them know we're there, watching, waiting, seeing if they've learned their lesson. This is insanity. You're one species. We are 12. We have fleets across the entire galaxy. War Master, Hawking said, and now his voice was soft, almost sad. You still don't understand. We're not threatening you with what we have. We're threatening you with what we could build if you force us to. Humanity has spent its entire history fighting itself. We're very, very good at war. Be grateful you're seeing the gentle version of what we're capable of. Gentle? We haven't fired a single shot. Your fleet is intact. Your crews are alive. We're letting you leave. That's gentle, War Master. Don't make us show you what happens when humans stop being polite. The transmission ended. Vulcan sat in her command chair, understanding slowly dawning. The humans hadn't just outmaneuvered her. They had outthought her, outplanned her. They had seen 40 years into the future and prepared for this exact moment. War Master, her second-in-command asked quietly. Orders? She looked at the tactical display. 7,000 human ships surrounding her fleet, each one an unknown quantity, each one potentially carrying weapons beyond her imagination. For the first time in the 7th Fleet's glorious history, War Master Vulcan gave an order she never thought she'd speak. Retreat. Full hyperspace jump. Get us back to the Council chamber. As her fleet fled, Vulcan couldn't stop thinking about one thing Admiral Hawking had said, the gentle version. If this was humanity being gentle, what did their violence look like? She had a terrible feeling the galaxy was about to find out. The Council expected humans to run, to hide, to beg for mercy. Instead, humanity revealed their true nature, patient, calculating, and terrifying. But the Council won't accept this humiliation easily. What happens when pride meets preparation? The emergency session of the Galactic Council was chaos. Impossible. High Commander Zekthor's voice echoed through the chamber. 7,000 ships? The humans barely have 300 in their registered fleet. War Master Vulcan stood in the center of the chamber, still shaken from her encounter. I know what I saw, High Commander. Every sensor reading confirms it. The human fleet appeared from nowhere, surrounded us completely, and they moved like nothing I've ever witnessed. She's exaggerating, scoffed Admiral Crixton of the Velkari Collective. Humans are clever liars. They probably used holograms and sensor ghosts to make their small fleet appear larger. Classic intimidation tactic. These weren't holograms. Vulcan slammed her fist on the podium. Our targeting systems locked onto solid matter. Our tactical AI calculated mass, heat signatures, energy outputs. Those ships were real. Ambassador Kixar's voice cut through the arguing. Then where did they come from? War Master, you're telling us that humanity built thousands of advanced warships in secret and nobody noticed? Not our intelligence networks, not our spy satellites, not our agents embedded in their society? That's exactly what I'm telling you, Vulcan said. And there's more. The human admiral, Hawking, he claimed they've infiltrated our governments. He said 17% of what we think are debris fields are actually their camouflaged ships. He said, lies. Zekthor interrupted. Psychological warfare. They're trying to make us paranoid, to doubt ourselves. Diplomat Zenva's tentacles writhed thoughtfully. Perhaps. But consider this. What if they're telling the truth? What if humanity has been planning this for decades? Planning what? Demanded Crixton. They're still a single-planet species. Even with 7,000 ships, they're outnumbered 1,000 to 1 by our combined fleets. Then why didn't War Master Vulcan engage them? Asked Mediator Pollux quietly. The chamber fell silent. All eyes turned to Vulcan because, she said slowly, their targeting was perfect. In 4 seconds, they achieved a tactical position that should have taken hours to coordinate. Their technology is beyond anything in our databases, and, prompted Zekthor. And I believed them. When Admiral Hawking said they could destroy my entire fleet instantly, I believed him. You didn't see his face. You didn't hear his voice. That wasn't a warrior making empty threats. That was a soldier stating facts. So you retreated, Zekthor said coldly. You abandoned the mission and ran. I saved my fleet, Vulcan shot back. High Commander, with respect, we walked into a trap. Everything about the Threshold 9 colony was designed to provoke exactly this response. They wanted us to attack. They wanted to show us what they're capable of. Then we'll show them what we're capable of. Zekthor rose from his seat. Counselors, I propose we mobilize the Grand Armada. Not a single fleet, all of them. Every species contributes their military forces. We gather 1 million ships and we glass Earth. We end this threat before it grows. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. That's exactly what they want. Vulcan protested. Don't you see? They're baiting us into a full-scale war. Then they'll get one, Crixton said. And they'll lose. Even if they have 7,000 advanced ships, what can they do against 1 million? I don't know, Vulcan admitted. And that terrifies me. The vote was called. 10 species voted for war. Only Pollux and Zenva abstained. It is decided, Zekthor announced. We assemble the Grand Armada. We end humanity's existence. And we make sure every species in this galaxy understands the price of defiance. 37 light-years away, in Earth's Shadow Command, Admiral Hawking watched the Council's debate through a spy satellite that definitely shouldn't exist in their supposedly secure chamber. They took the bait, reported Commander Lisa Zhao. The Council is mobilizing everything they have. Casualty predictions? Hawking asked. If we engage in direct combat with 1 million ships? Zhao pulled up simulations. Best case scenario, we lose 70% of our forces and fail to stop them from reaching Earth. Worst case, complete extinction. And if we execute plan checkmate? Sa hesitated. Unknown. We've never tested it at this scale. The mathematical models say it should work, but we're betting the survival of our species on untested technology, Hawking finished. Story of humanity's existence, isn't it? Admiral, I need to ask. The Council thinks we're alone. They think Earth is our only world. But we've had colony ships traveling for 40 years. We have settlements they don't know about. If Earth falls, humanity survives, Hawking confirmed. 37 hidden colonies across 17 star systems. Even if Earth dies, our species continues. But that's not the point, Commander. Sir, we're not just fighting for survival. We're fighting for the right to exist without bowing to bullies. If we run, if we hide, we'll spend the rest of history looking over our shoulders. No. We make our stand here. We show them that humanity doesn't kneel. An alert flashed on Hawking's screen. Admiral, we have movement. The Council fleets are beginning to mobilize. Estimated time until they reach Earth, 14 days. Then we have 14 days to prepare. Hawking turned to his command staff. Activate all ghost protocols. I want every hidden asset online and ready. Contact our agents embedded in the Council species. It's time they revealed themselves. And the checkmate weapon? Begin final preparations. If the Council wants to see what humans are truly capable of, we'll give them a demonstration they'll never forget. Across the galaxy, the greatest military mobilization in history began. From the Krag's homeworld, 10,000 warships launched. From the Velkari systems, bioweapon platforms that could sterilize planets. From the crystalline worlds of the Zhartek, energy weapons that could ignite stars. 1 million ships, 12 species, all united in a single purpose: destroy Earth. But something strange started happening. In the Krag's fleet, 3 ships suddenly broke formation. Their transponders went dark. When hailed, they responded with a simple message. This is Captain Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Force. We regret to inform you that these vessels are no longer under Krag's control. In the Velkari Collective, entire bio-research stations went offline. Then came the transmissions, human scientists emerging from deep cover, declaring that they'd been sabotaging bioweapon development for years. On the Shah-Tech homeworld, a low-level bureaucrat named Sheknar revealed himself to actually be human operative Michael Chen, and he'd just locked down their planetary defense grid. The reports flooded into the council chamber. High Commander. An aide burst into the room. We have massive security breaches across all council species. The humans, they're everywhere. They're in our militaries, our governments, our research facilities. Zekthor felt reality shifting beneath his feet. How many? We don't know. They're revealing themselves by the hundreds. Some have been embedded for decades. Ambassador Kixar looked at Vulcan. You said Hawking claimed they'd infiltrated our governments. I thought he was bluffing, Vulcan whispered. They've been planning this for 40 years, Zenva said, understanding dawning. Since the moment they achieved faster-than-light travel, they've been preparing for this exact scenario. Preparing for what? Demanded Zekthor. An answer came, but not from anyone in the chamber. The communication system activated on its own, overriding all security protocols. Admiral Hawking's face appeared on every screen. Members of the Galactic Council, he said calmly. By now you've discovered our agents. You're wondering how we managed to infiltrate your society so thoroughly. The answer is simple. You underestimated us. When we first detected your civilizations, we didn't rush forward with open arms. We watched. We learned. We understood that the galaxy wasn't a friendly place. So we prepared. Every human who left Earth on a colony ship, every diplomat we sent to your worlds, every scientist who studied your technology, they all had a second mission: to become invisible, to become part of your societies, to wait. Some of them have lived their entire adult lives pretending to be you. They married your people. They raised children who are half human, half alien. They became your friends, your colleagues, your trusted advisors. And now, when you've decided to commit genocide against our species, they're revealing themselves. Zekthor found his voice. What do you want, human? I want you to call off your Grand Armada. I want you to sit down at a negotiating table and treat humanity as equals. I want you to understand that we're not going anywhere. And if we refuse, Hawking's expression didn't change. Then we activate Plan Checkmate, and you discover what happens when humans stop playing defense and start playing offense. Your choice, High Commander. You have 12 hours. The transmission ended. In the silence that followed, Mediator Pollux spoke. High Commander, I recommend we accept their terms. Accept? We outnumber them 1,000 to 1, do we? Pollux gestured at the reports flooding in. We thought we knew where all their ships were. We were wrong. We thought we knew their capabilities. We were wrong. We thought we knew their population centers. We were wrong about everything. High Commander, we're fighting an enemy we don't understand. That's how you lose wars. Zekthor looked around the chamber. For the first time, he saw doubt in every face. 12 hours, he said finally. In 12 hours we reconvene. We discuss terms. But if this is a trick, if humanity is bluffing, we will show no mercy. Deep in Shadow Command, Admiral Hawking allowed himself a small smile. Phase 1 complete, he told his staff. They're scared. Good. Fear makes people rational. Now we move to Phase 2. Sir, what if they call our bluff? What if they attack anyway? Hawking's smile faded. Then we show them that humanity never bluffs. We show them checkmate. And if checkmate doesn't work, then we make sure they regret attacking us so badly that no other species ever tries it again. One way or another, Commander, this war ends in 12 hours. The question was, how would it end? With negotiation, or with unprecedented violence that would echo across the stars for eternity? The galaxy was about to find out. The Council mobilized for genocide. Humanity responded by revealing they'd infiltrated every level of galactic society. But both sides are still hiding their ultimate weapons. When the 12-hour deadline expires, will wisdom prevail? Or will the galaxy learn why you should never corner humans? The 12 hours passed like 12 years. In the council chamber, the debate raged. Some argued for peace, others demanded blood. High Commander Zekthor sat silently, weighing options that all seemed equally terrible. We can't negotiate with terrorists, insisted Admiral Crixton. If we show weakness now, every primitive species in the galaxy will think they can challenge us. This isn't about weakness, Mediator Pollux countered. It's about survival. The humans have demonstrated capabilities we didn't know existed. They've embedded themselves so deeply into our societies that we can't even be sure who we're talking to anymore. Exactly. Crixton slammed his appendage on the table. They've declared biological warfare. They've infiltrated our species, bred with us, created hybrid offspring. That's an existential threat. Or, Ambassador Zenva said thoughtfully, it's insurance. Think about it. If we destroy Earth, we'll be killing our own citizens. Those human hybrid children you mentioned, some of them are in this very building. Some of them are your children, Crixton. The Admiral recoiled. That's impossible. I've never... Your third offspring, Zenva continued calmly. Born 20 cycles ago. The mother was a Velkari scientist named Shavin. Except Shavin was actually a human operative named Sarah Venturi. Your child is half human, Crixton. Are you willing to destroy Earth, knowing your own son might die in the retaliation? Crixton sat down heavily. Around the chamber, similar revelations were occurring. The humans hadn't just infiltrated, they'd woven themselves into the fabric of galactic society so completely that removing them would tear apart families, governments, and entire social structures. They've checkmated us, War Master Vulcan said quietly. Even if we destroy Earth, humanity survives through their hidden colonies and their hybrid children, and we'll have committed genocide against what might be thousands of our own citizens. There's still the question of their threat, Zekthor said. This checkmate weapon, what could they possibly have that would threaten 12 species simultaneously? As if on cue, the communication system activated again. Admiral Hawking appeared, but this time he wasn't alone. Behind him stood hundreds of figures, humans and aliens, side by side. Time's up, High Commander, Hawking said. Have you made your decision? We're still debating, Zekthor replied stiffly. Then let me help you decide. You wanted to know about checkmate? I'll show you. The view screen changed. It showed a star system none of them recognized. A blue-white star with 7 planets. This is system KX7749, Hawking explained. Uninhabited. No life anywhere in the system. We chose it specifically because we knew you'd want proof, and we didn't want to hurt anyone. Proof of what? Demanded Zekthor. Proof that when humans prepare for war, we don't do half measures. Computer, initiate checkmate protocol. Authorization Hawking Alpha 9. On the screen, something appeared near the star. It was small at first, barely visible against the stellar surface. Then it began to grow. What is that? Whispered Vulcan. That, Hawking said, is a self-replicating quantum cascade device. Or in simpler terms, a machine that makes copies of itself. Exponentially. It took us 30 years to design. 10 years to build the first one, and about 30 seconds for it to multiply into 1 million copies. On the screen, the single device had become a swarm. The swarm was diving into the star. What are you doing? Zekthor demanded. Watch. For 10 seconds, nothing happened. Then the star flickered. Stellar output increasing, reported a Shartech scientist, her voice shaking. By 5%. No, 10%, 15%. This is impossible. The star began to pulse. Waves of energy radiated outward. The devices are disrupting the star's magnetic field, Hawking explained calmly. They're forcing the star to release energy faster than its natural fusion rate. Much faster. You're making it go supernova, Zenva breathed. You've weaponized stellar collapse. Not quite. We're not destroying the star. That would take too much energy. We're just making it throw a tantrum. Watch what happens next. The stellar flares intensified. Jets of plasma erupted from the star's surface, reaching across millions of kilometers. The planets in the system began to superheat. Atmospheres boiled away. Surfaces melted. In approximately 17 minutes, Hawking continued, every planet in this system will be sterilized. Not by conventional weapons, not by bombardment, but by their own sun. And here's the thing about checkmate. Once we deploy the devices, they replicate faster than anyone can stop them. They're self-sufficient, self-repairing, self-protecting, and we have them positioned near every council homeworld. The council chamber erupted in shouting. You wouldn't dare! Crixton roared. Wouldn't I? Hawking's voice cut through the chaos. You were preparing to commit genocide. You were preparing to exterminate 8 billion people. You think we won't respond in kind? The difference is we don't need ships. We don't need soldiers. We just need to give an order, and 12 stars start cooking your worlds. This is madness. Zekthor stood, his 4 eyes blazing with fury. You're threatening to kill trillions. I'm threatening to do exactly what you were going to do to us, Hawking replied, his voice like ice. The only difference is our method. You were going to use ships and bombs. We're using stars. More efficient, more final, more terrifying. How long? Vulcan asked quietly. How long have these devices been in position? 15 years, Hawking admitted. We placed them the moment we figured out council politics. The moment we realized you were exactly what we feared. Powerful species who crush anyone weaker. We've been ready to burn the galaxy down since before you even knew we existed. Mediator Pollux found his voice. Admiral, you said you wanted peace. How is threatening mass extinction peaceful? For the first time, Hawking's expression softened slightly. It's not peaceful, Mediator. It's reality. Let me tell you something about humanity. We've been fighting each other for 50,000 years. We've built weapons that could destroy our own planet dozens of times over. We've had the capacity for self-annihilation since before we left our solar system. And you know what kept us from using those weapons? What? Asked Zenva. The understanding that true strength isn't about being able to destroy, it's about choosing not to. Humanity could have destroyed itself 100 times. We didn't. Not because we were weak, but because we were smart enough to know that survival requires cooperation. Hawking leaned forward, his eyes intense. I don't want to activate checkmate. I don't want to kill anyone, but I will if you force my hand. Because the one thing humans understand, down to our DNA, is this. If someone tries to exterminate us, we make sure they regret it so badly that no one ever tries again. So what do you want? Zekthor asked, exhaustion in his voice. A treaty. A real one. Not the kind where you tell us what to do and we obey. The kind where we're equals. We want representation on the Galactic Council. We want the right to colonize uninhabited worlds without asking permission. We want trade agreements, technology exchange, cultural programs. We want what every species wants, the right to exist and grow and thrive. And in exchange, we deactivate checkmate. We reveal the locations of all our hidden assets. We become partners instead of threats. We help you instead of terrorizing you. You're asking us to reward you for threatening us, Crixton said bitterly. No, Hawking corrected. I'm asking you to recognize that you started this. You attacked our people. You tried to bully us into submission. We just showed you that humans don't submit. We adapt, we evolve, we overcome. Give us a chance to be allies instead of enemies. High Commander Zekthor looked around the chamber. He saw fear in every face. Fear of the star-killing weapons. Fear of the embedded agents. Fear of what else humanity might be hiding, but he also saw something else. Exhaustion. The weight of 10,000 years of conquest. The realization that maybe, just maybe, there was a better way. I need to consult with the Council, Zekthor said finally. Privately. You have 1 hour, Hawking replied. After that, I need an answer. Peace or fire, your choice. The transmission ended. In the private chamber, the 12 species gathered. No gods, no aides, just the leaders who would decide the fate of trillions. We can't trust them, Crixton said immediately. They've lied to us for 40 years. They've infiltrated our societies. They've built weapons that could destroy us all. How can we possibly trust them now? We can't, Vulcan agreed. But that's not the question. The question is, can we afford to fight them? We outnumber them, Crixton insisted. Do we? Pollux challenged. We thought we knew their fleet size. Wrong. We thought we knew their technology. Wrong. We thought we knew their locations. Wrong. Admiral, with respect, we don't actually know anything about humanity except what they've chosen to show us. Which proves they're deceitful. Or careful, Zenva countered. Put yourself in their position. You're a new species. You discover a galaxy ruled by ancient empires who have crushed hundreds of civilizations. Do you announce yourself proudly? Or do you prepare for the worst while hoping for the best? They built star-killing weapons. Crixton's voice was desperate now. They were planning genocide. As insurance, Vulcan said quietly. Not as a first strike. Think about the timeline. They positioned those devices 15 years ago but never used them. They could have destroyed us at any point. They didn't. They waited. They hoped we'd be reasonable. Instead, we tried to exterminate a civilian colony, Pollux added. They had every right to strike back. The fact that they're offering negotiation instead of annihilation says something about their character. Zekthor had been silent, thinking. Now he spoke. I've been on this council for 300 cycles. In that time, I've overseen the conquest of 74 species. Some fought back, some surrendered, some tried to hide. Do you know how many offered to become equals instead of subjects? How many? Asked Zenva. None, because we never gave them the choice. We showed up with overwhelming force and demanded submission. The humans are the first species in my lifetime to say no and make it stick. So you're advocating surrender? Crixton asked incredulously. I'm advocating evolution, Zekthor replied. The galaxy is changing. For 10,000 years, might made right. The strongest conquered. The weak served or died. But the humans have shown us that strength isn't just about military power. It's about planning, adaptation, the willingness to do whatever it takes to survive. They're too dangerous, Crixton protested. Exactly, Zekthor agreed. They're too dangerous to fight, and too valuable to destroy. Think about what they've accomplished in 40 years. Faster than light travel, self-replicating weapons, infiltration techniques we never detected. Imagine what they could accomplish as allies instead of enemies. You're forgetting the most important thing, Vulcan said. The hybrid children. There are thousands of them now, half human, half us. If we destroy Earth, we don't just commit genocide against humanity. We kill our own children, our own citizens. That's a line I won't cross. Silence fell over the chamber. Vote, Zekthor said finally. All in favor of accepting humanity's treaty terms. Slowly, hands and appendages rose. Zenva, Pollux, Vulcan. One by one, species that had ruled the galaxy for millennia voted to share power with the newcomers. Even Crixton reluctantly raised his hand. Unanimous, Zekthor announced. The Council accepts humanity's terms. We grant them full membership, equal rights, and partnership status. And the checkmate devices? Asked Pollux. We'll verify their deactivation. But we'll also remember they exist. Consider it. Mutual deterrence. They don't destroy us. We don't destroy them. And we all sleep a little less soundly, knowing we're one bad decision away from annihilation. That's a terrible foundation for peace, Crixton muttered. No, Zekthor corrected. It's an honest one. Peace maintained through mutual fear of destruction. Humans would call it mutually assured destruction, Vulcan supplied. They have a term for it, mad. They've been living with this concept for centuries. They understand it in their bones. Then perhaps, Zenva said thoughtfully, they can teach us how to live with it too. The hour expired. Admiral Hawking appeared on the screen once more. High Commander, he prompted. Zekthor took a deep breath. The Galactic Council votes to accept your terms. Full membership, equal rights, partnership. Welcome to the galactic community, humanity. Officially this time. Hawking's expression didn't change. And you understand the terms? We deactivate checkmate, but it remains in place. Dormant. A reminder that humanity won't be threatened. Ever again. We understand. Mutually assured destruction. You've taught us a new word today, Admiral. Let's hope neither of us ever needs to use it, Hawking replied. I'm transmitting coordinates for the treaty signing. 1 week. Representatives from Earth and all Council species will make this official. Agreed. But Admiral, one question, yes? The embedded agents. The hybrid children. How many are there, really? Hawking smiled slightly. High Commander, that's information we'll share with our allies. Once the treaty is signed, consider it an incentive to follow through. The transmission ended. In Shadow Command, Commander Zhao turned to Hawking. Sir, they accepted. We did it, we actually did it. We did, Hawking agreed. Now comes the hard part. What's harder than threatening the entire galaxy? Living with them, working with them, proving that humans can be partners instead of weapons. We've shown them what we can destroy. Now we need to show them what we can build. And if they betray us, if this treaty is just a trick to buy time, Hawking looked at the screen showing the 12 Council worlds. On each one, dormant checkmate devices floated in position, invisible and waiting. Then we remind them why it's a very bad idea to make humans angry. But I don't think they will. Fear is a powerful teacher. They've learned their lesson. Have we learned ours? Zhao asked quietly. What do you mean? We built star-killing weapons, sir. We embedded agents across the galaxy. We prepared for genocide. Have we become the very thing we were afraid of? Hawking was silent for a long moment. Maybe, he admitted finally. Maybe we have. But that's the price of survival in a hostile galaxy. We can be philosophers later. Right now, we need to be survivors. And survivors do whatever it takes. He stood, addressing his entire command staff. In 1 week, humanity takes its place among the stars. Not as subjects, not as victims, but as equals. We fought for that right. Some might say we threatened our way to it. Maybe that's true. But no one will ever doubt humanity's place in this galaxy again. The war lasted minutes, Zhao observed. Just like you predicted. Because wars aren't won by whoever fights longest, Hawking replied. They're won by whoever prepares best. The Council thought they could crush us in hours. We ended it in minutes because we were ready. That's the lesson here. That's what we'll teach our children and our children's children. What lesson? Never underestimate humans, and never ever make us choose between submission and survival. Because when pushed to that edge, we'll burn the galaxy down before we kneel. Around the command center, officers nodded grimly. They had stared into the abyss of total war. They had held the power to destroy civilizations. They had done what needed to be done. And they would live with that burden for the rest of their lives. But humanity would survive. And in the end, that was all that mattered. The war is over. Humanity has won a seat at the galactic table. But at what cost? The Council learned to fear humans. Humans learned they're capable of threatening genocide. As the treaty negotiations begin, one question remains. Can these species truly become partners? Or have they simply bought time before the next inevitable conflict? 1 week later, the treaty signing took place on neutral ground, a space station between galaxies, built specifically for this moment. Representatives from all 12 Council species arrived first, their ships forming a defensive perimeter out of habit more than necessity. Then came the human delegation. Admiral Hawking led them, but he wasn't alone. Behind him walked a diverse group, military officers, diplomats, scientists, and most surprisingly, several of the embedded agents who had revealed themselves during the crisis. Among them was Sarah Venturi, the woman who had lived 20 years as the Velkari scientist Shavan. Beside her walked Admiral Crixton's son, a young hybrid who had his father's strength and his mother's human determination. The meeting room was circular, designed so no one sat at the head. Equality built into architecture. High Commander Zekthor spoke first. Before we sign anything, I need to know the truth. All of it. How many agents? How many hidden colonies? How many checkmate devices? Hawking nodded. Fair. You want complete transparency. We're about to become partners. Partners don't lie to each other. Agreed. Hawking activated a holographic display. Complete disclosure. As requested. Numbers appeared. Locations. Names. The Council representatives leaned forward, studying the data. 472 embedded agents. Zenva read aloud. Across all Council species, some married into your families, some serving in governments, some working in research facilities. And we never noticed, Vulcan said. 400 people living double lives, and our security never caught them. 5 of them were in your security departments, Hawking pointed out. That helped. The colonies, Zekthor asked. 37 confirmed settlements. 17 star systems. Total human population outside Earth, approximately 200 million. All kept completely dark. No communication with Council-monitored space. Self-sufficient, hidden in plain sight. Mostly in regions you've classified as uninteresting. You populated an entire civilization in secret, Pollock said, shaking his head. The logistics alone, we're good at organization, Hawking said simply, and we had 40 years. Plus, it helps when you're motivated by existential fear. The checkmate devices? Crixton asked, his voice tight. 17 total, 1 near each Council homeworld, 5 positioned at strategic choke points. Each one capable of destabilizing a star within 20 minutes of activation. All currently dormant, all under multi-locked control requiring authorization from both human command and, as of today, Council oversight. That got everyone's attention. You're giving us control over your weapons? Zekthor asked suspiciously. Partial control, Hawking corrected. Neither side can activate without the other's agreement. True mutually assured destruction. If we betray you, you can stop us. If you betray us, we can respond. No one has the power to act unilaterally. You trust us with that? No, Hawking admitted. But trust has to start somewhere. Consider this our good faith gesture. Around the table, the council representatives exchanged glances. This wasn't what they expected. They expected humans to hold on to every advantage, every secret, every weapon. Instead, Hawking was offering transparency and shared control. Why? Vulcan asked. You won. You could dictate terms. Why give us any power at all? Hawking looked at Sarah Venturi, who nodded encouragingly. He took a breath. Because I'm tired, he said quietly. Because I've spent 20 years preparing for war. Because I helped design weapons that could kill trillions. Because I look at these devices and I feel sick, knowing what they could do. And because, he gestured at the young hybrid sitting beside Crixton, because that young man is the future. Not weapons, not threats, not fear. People like him, who are both human and alien, who prove that we're not so different. We can share this galaxy. We can build something better than endless cycles of conquest and submission. Pretty words, Crixton said, though his voice was softer now. But words are easy. Actions matter. Then judge us by our actions, Hawking replied. We're deactivating Checkmate. We're revealing our hidden colonies. We're putting our agents under council jurisdiction. We're offering complete technological exchange. You get access to our stealth tech, our replication systems, our tactical computing. All of it. In exchange for what? Zenva asked. In exchange for being treated as equals, for having a voice in galactic policy, for the chance to prove that humanity can contribute something more than violence. Zekthor studied Hawking for a long moment. You planned all of this, he said finally. The threats, the revelations, this moment. You knew we'd ask for transparency, and you were ready to give it. I hoped you'd ask, Hawking corrected. I prepared for every scenario. Peace was always the preferred option. The weapons, the infiltration, the threats, those were insurance. But yes, I always hoped we'd end up here. Talking, negotiating, building instead of destroying. You manipulated us. I convinced you, Hawking said firmly. There's a difference. You made choices. You voted to accept peace. Yes, I presented those choices strategically, but they were always your decisions to make. Mediator Pollux laughed, a strange, burbling sound. What's funny? Crixton demanded. We are, Pollux replied. We're 10,000-year-old civilizations arguing with 40-year-old space travelers about manipulation and strategy, and they're winning the argument. Because they think differently, Vulcan said, understanding dawning. We've been playing the same game for millennia. Conquest, submission, hierarchy. Humans showed up and changed the rules entirely. They didn't try to beat us at our game. They invented a new one. Exactly, Hawking confirmed. We couldn't outfight you. We couldn't outproduce you. We couldn't outlast you. So we outthought you. We became what you didn't expect. Not warriors. Not victims. Something else. Something you didn't have a strategy for. Equals, Zenva said softly. You became equals before we acknowledged it. You didn't ask for permission. You created a situation where we had no choice but to recognize reality. And now? Zekthor asked. What happens after we sign this treaty? Hawking smiled, and for the first time it reached his eyes. Now we get to work. You have problems we can help solve. We have challenges you can help with. There are threats in this galaxy bigger than any of us. Pirates, rogue AI, dimensional rifts. Together we can handle them. Part we waste resources fighting each other. You want to be the galaxy's protectors? Crixton asked skeptically. I want humanity to have a future, Hawking replied. And I'm betting that future is brighter if we're working with you instead of against you. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this treaty falls apart in 5 years. But we'll never know unless we try. Silence settled over the room. Then, slowly, High Commander Zekthor extended his hand, a human gesture he'd learned specifically for this moment. Equals, he said. Partners, allies, let's sign this treaty and prove that the galaxy can evolve. Hawking shook his hand. Around the table, others followed suit. Tentacles and claws and appendages mixing with human hands. The treaty was signed. 13 signatures representing billions of lives. The beginning of a new era. But as the celebrations began, Admiral Hawking stepped onto an observation deck. Alone. Sarah Venturi found him there, staring at the stars. "You did it," she said. "Peace, everything we worked for." "Did I?" Hawking asked quietly. "Sarah, I threatened to kill trillions. I built weapons that could destroy civilizations. Yes, we got peace, but at what cost to our souls?" "The cost of survival," she replied. "James, we had no choice. It was this or extinction. Was it, though? Could we have found another way? One that didn't require becoming monsters? We're not monsters. Monsters kill without reason. We prepared defenses. There's a difference, is there?" Hawking turned to face her. "I look at those checkmate devices, and I see human ingenuity turned toward destruction. I see the worst of what we're capable of. Then look at this." Sarah gestured to the celebration inside. "Look at Crixton talking with his son. Look at Pollux and Commander Zhao sharing drinks. Look at species that were enemies an hour ago laughing together. That's also human ingenuity. The ability to turn enemies into friends. By threatening them. By showing them we couldn't be bullied. James, you gave humanity a future. Maybe it's not perfect. Maybe we had to become scary to earn respect. But we earned it. And now we get to prove we're more than our weapons." Hawking was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded. "You're right. The war is over. Now comes the hard part, the peace. Making sure this treaty means something. Making sure we build bridges instead of walls." "We will," Sarah assured him. "Because that's what humans do. We're adaptable. We survived ice ages and plagues and nuclear weapons and ourselves. We'll survive peace, too." Inside, someone called for Hawking to give a speech. He took a deep breath, squared his shoulders, and walked back into the light. 50 years later, a human child and a Krax child sat in a classroom on Unity Station, the joint Human Council facility that had become the new center of galactic governance. Their teacher, an elderly Valkyrie who had lived through the war, was teaching history. "Can anyone tell me how long the Human Council war lasted?" she asked. The human child raised her hand. "It was over in minutes." "Correct." "And why was it so short?" The Krax child answered. "Because humans were prepared. They had plans. And they showed the Council that fighting would cost too much." Also correct. But here's the most important question. What did we learn from that war? Silence. Then the human child spoke again. "That strength isn't about who can destroy who. It's about who's smart enough to choose peace." The teacher smiled. "Perfect. Remember that lesson. Your parents and grandparents lived through a time when war seemed inevitable. They chose something different. They chose to trust each other, even when it was hard, even when it was scary." "Were humans really going to destroy the Council worlds?" the Krax child asked. "They could have," the teacher said carefully, "just like the Council could have destroyed Earth. But both sides realized something important. Winning a war means nothing if everyone loses. So they found a better way. Mutually assured destruction," the human child recited. "Yes, a terrible idea that saved countless lives. Because when everyone has the power to destroy everyone else, suddenly everyone has a reason to talk instead of fight." Class ended. The children ran out together laughing, planning to meet later at the zero-gravity playground. Human and alien playing together, growing up in a galaxy their ancestors had almost destroyed. Above them, dormant and hidden, the checkmate devices still floated near the Council worlds. Insurance, reminder, warning. No one had touched them in 50 years. No one planned to, because the galaxy had learned what humanity had known for centuries. The best weapons are the ones you never have to use, and the greatest victory is the war you win without fighting. The end. Galactic Council predicted human defeat in hours. They brought 47 warships against a small colony. They expected easy victory. They were wrong. Humanity didn't fight the war the Council expected. We didn't meet them on their terms. Instead, we spent 40 years preparing for a war we hoped would never come. We became invisible. We became essential. We became dangerous, and when the moment came, we showed them that humans don't fight to win battles. We fight to win futures. The war lasted minutes because we had already won it decades ago. through planning and patience and the willingness to do whatever it took to survive. This is humanity. We're not the strongest species, we're not the oldest, we're not the most advanced, but we're the most determined, and that makes all the difference. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, hit subscribe. More Sci-Fi stories coming soon. Remember, never underestimate humanity. We're way scarier than we look.